Yesterday, Trump's own defense secretary admitted something under oath that blows a hole in his entire story about this war. $37.5 billion and 17 American lives for a war he already told us was over. Hegseth still couldn't explain why, if Iran's nuclear program was already obliterated like he claimed last year, why did Trump have to strike again this year? And now the White House wants $1.5 trillion for defense while you and I can't afford groceries. Something does not add up, and we're going to talk you through or walk you through exactly why. My guest tonight is Isaiah Martin. He's been here before on the show. He's run for Congress. He's a CNN Newsnight commentator on Abby Phillips' show. And if you haven't seen his TikTok, you are missing some of the funniest political content on the internet, hands down. MAGA callers walking straight into his traps live on air. So we have a bunch of stuff to get into today, and I hope you're ready to get into it because I am. Let's get defiant. Incredible person, incredible human being. Yes, yes. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Defiant Weekly. I'm your host, Majid Padelin, a.k.a. BDD, a.k.a. Brooklyn Dad Defiant. And with us returning to the show, as promised, is the very famous now Isaiah Martin. Welcome, my brother.
What's up, BDD? Happy
to be here. Glad to have you back here, man. I've been watching, and I've been texting you every now and then, telling you like your lives are killing me. They are frying me. Especially, there's this thing, folks. He does these live TikToks. I think it's on. You originate them on TikTok or Instagram?
On TikTok, yeah.
Okay, so he does them on TikTok, and I guess he has these MAGA folks. They call up and you know, and he just lets them have at it, which I think is great. I think that's kind of like, you know, that's kind of what Charlie Kirk. Sorry, brother, I'm not trying to compare you to Charlie Kirk. What I mean to say is that it's kind of what Charlie Kirk tried to do, except you literally let people have their say, you know, on your lives. But my favorite thing, guys, so Isaiah really doesn't suffer any fools. He doesn't have time for your nonsense, right? And he will tell you, and I love, my favorite thing he does is he says, he gets up close to the microphone, right? When somebody complains about something, and he's like, have you tried crying about it?
It's my favorite thing to do, man. They squirm every time they hear that.
But what kills me is they're like lining up for this abuse. At one point, when you first started doing this, I was like, there's no way. He's got a friend who's pretending to be a dumb MAGA. That's what it is. But no, it's like this is an ongoing thing. It's hilarious.
Yeah, you know, it's really interesting. You know, I've been doing this for almost a year and a half now, close to 2 years. And it's really amazing that they haven't caught on yet to the fact that they're about to get cooked. You know, it's like every night they line up and it's new people every night. And I don't know what it is. They just love to sign themselves up for this kind of abuse. I guess, you know, maybe it's a thing for them. Who knows? Maybe they enjoy getting their tails kicked in every night, but it's either here nor there, you know?
Oh, you know what? Actually, I did see something funny on Instagram. There are some girls. Now, you might have seen this too, right? There's some, I say girls, but they are women, right? And they're women who claim that MAGA wants them to abuse them, right? Like I don't know, psychologically abuse them, like just talk mean to them or whatever. And they pay these women for the privilege to be demeaned. So
that's a mental illness. I think that's what we're coming upon. You know, a lot of people are sick in the head. And I think that's a pretty good example of that.
Indeed. Well, let's get started because I want to say I'm very proud of you and your success, the
Likewise.
success that you've had so far, and you just keep going up, up, up. I have a clip.
You know, I love you, BDD, man. We've been in this forever, man, and it's just so amazing. Like I said, to be on your show because you've always just been an amazing friend of mine, and I love coming on because we just talk honestly, man. It honestly feels like we're in the barbershop or something. It's so much fun.
Yes, indeed. So, what I want to do is to start off our conversation. We are going to talk about the Iran war and specifically how the Iran war is causing a fracture within MAGA and how we can possibly capitalize on it, and some of the things that you do so very astutely to debunk the MAGA talking points on the Iran war. And as Exhibit A, I want to share with everybody a clip that I have from one of your CNN appearances. Let's play this one. This is it.
If the MOU goes sideways, he's going to start bombing. Unfortunately, I think the solution short term is to continue the bombing run until we get compliance.
Well, what I think is even more asinine is the fact that you call that the reality, but inside of the text of the MOU, they immediately unfroze Iranian assets. It's been reported that number is $12 billion. So before any of this, before there was any type of guarantee on nuclear, Trump went and made the negotiation in the agreement to give them $12 billion. So the greatest heist in history seems to be the Iranians. I mean, this is honestly worse than the Luka trade. Because at this point, what you guys did was, in this administration, you gave them $12 billion. Now they're rebuilding their nuclear facilities. Now we know that the regime is still in place. They still control the Strait of Hormuz. We have all of that happening right now.
We don't know they're rebuilding nuclear facilities. The satellite imagery shows they could be fortifying, they could be tunneling, they could be doing a number of things. We don't know that.
All I'm telling you is we don't know that. Over there, right? They're not doing anything, right?
There's been a bipartisan rally around the flag effect against this war, not for it. You have people across the aisle saying this is not benefiting America's national interest.
That's right.
So there we go. I solved the world's problems on a Friday night.
Bipartisanship. Let's get that. That's a win.
You selected that clip to put on your TikTok because that woman, and her last name is Sunshine, right?
Caroline Sunshine. Yep.
Yeah, she's kind of MAGA, no?
She's very MAGA, very much so.
Yeah. And so something I've seen you do before is you like to exceed certain points. If someone makes a point that you're debating with and you agree with it, you like easily, yeah, sure, we agree there. You're happy to agree there. Caroline Sunshine appeared to be making a point that you agreed with.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, what were you saying?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, tell me if that shocked you on air coming from her, and what the dynamic was like between you guys on that show.
Caroline, I think actually worked on Trump's 2024 campaign. So she is almost about as MAGA as it gets. But the one thing that I will say is that when somebody comes forward and they bring something that is common sense and a fact, 100%, I'm going to agree with that. And the truth is that Trump's war is dumb. I mean, it doesn't serve a domestic interest for us. We understand that, they've lied about whether there was an immediate threat or not. They've lied about whether or not they've destroyed nuclear capabilities. I think Ossoff really did a good job pointing that out the other day. So to be honest with you, I think Caroline represents a lot of people within MAGA when they see the clear hypocrisy of Trump saying that he wanted no new wars, and now he's justifying seemingly a new forever war. He's talking about eventually occupying the Strait of Hormuz in perpetuity. Well, that sounds like a forever war to me. So, look, I think that in order for us to really go forward in these midterms, I think we have to build a coalition of yes people that might have voted for Trump in the past, but also understand that this war is completely unjustified and should not need to happen. And so I was happy to agree with Caroline on this because she was 100% right. This war is not good.
I liked how you opened up that discussion by saying what I find is asinine, because you were kind of like tagging your desk mate with that label
Yeah.
on national
Funny.
TV. That was funny. That guy is asinine. I don't have patience for him. But
Yeah.
Pete, speaking of not having patience, did you catch the Senate hearings yesterday with Pete Hegseth?
Yeah, I saw a lot of it. I saw Pete squirm, when Ossoff was basically questioning him. It was crazy.
Yeah, so he still had difficulty breaking down the whole obliterated contradiction. Like, could you break that down for those of our viewers who did not catch the hearings yesterday? Why it was such a dichotomy? Um, why he was unable to explain, unable or unwilling to explain to the senators how if you say that you obliterated Iran's military capability, why we're still at war? Why was he unable to um, to explain that to room full of senators?
Well, first off, I want to set the scene. This guy was up in Congress to ask for an additional $80 billion to go and spend on this war. So that's $80 billion that we're not going to be able to spend on your health care, $80 billion that we're not going to be able to spend on your child care, $80 billion that we're not going to spend on any of the things that you need in this economy that you can't afford anything. So that's why he was there. And so the question then is, why are you asking us for $80 billion when you just said that the war was over, that they had completely obliterated their capabilities, and that this was a complete and total victory? Why do you need more money? And so the fact that he could not answer that is because he was under oath, under penalty of perjury. He understands that very clearly. So that's why it was very important for Ossoff to just keep asking him, can you please tell us, was this a false statement? Because if it was, well, then now we're at a massive problem. What is the reason why you need $80 billion more dollars? And the truth is, they were lying the entire way through. This was something that they know never was close to being finished whatsoever. And they really want to continue this into perpetuity. And so I think that that's really what a lot of the senators did a good job of highlighting, was the simple fact that this was just completely unjustified and did not need to happen.
Isaiah, you said several times that they want to continue this war into perpetuity. I'm not debating that at all, because it absolutely is what it appears. This war is extremely unpopular, despite Donald Trump's protest to the contrary today. He said, "Oh, it's the American people don't oppose this war." Yeah, actually, they do. Even Fox News showed a graphic. 69% of people oppose the Iran war. With it being so unpopular, why would this guy extend the war? I mean, it's a political, it's a loser for the Republican Party. It's driving prices up. Why would he do it? Is there some ulterior motive to extending this war?
Well, in my honest opinion, it's because Trump has put himself in a completely in too deep situation, right? So, we had, as you know, the Iran nuclear deal that Obama signed that reduced 97% of Iran's nuclear capabilities. We understand that very clearly. Now, the issue is that he went with a bunch of bravado and ripped up that deal and claimed that he and himself alone was going to be the only reason how he was going to go create a bigger and better thing. So he went and engaged this war as a result of that. But now Iran has pulled a new card, which is the fact that they completely control the Strait of Hormuz. And so with that card in place, he's stuck between, yes, they've raised our oil prices and everything else as a result of this, and this MOU that now exists that says that $300 billion will have to be spent to rebuild Iranians' infrastructure, plus $100+ billion of oil sanctions. He's completely just stuck. And so, it's a really difficult situation because he does not know how to get out of it. And so I just have to say, to the folks at home, this is what happens when you have a bunch of bluster and you don't have any plan to do anything about what you're talking about. You can't just go and bomb and attack your way out of problems. You've got to use common sense and logic. And when you had a deal that went and reduced their capabilities by 97%, that did not have a single American troop lose their life as a result of this, and you pull out of that because you think that bombing is the solution, that just shows how stupid and low IQ this president really is, because he did not understand the real realities of this. They control the Strait of Hormuz. They have literally a lot of the cards now in their hands, and it's completely unjustified, and it did not need to be this way.
Yeah, and on top of that, the Strait of Hormuz was something that I wasn't even, honestly, I'm being honest, I wasn't even aware of. The Strait of Hormuz was not aware of that little thing before this war started. Didn't even know it existed, didn't know that it was so important to, to world commerce. And Donald Trump not only made us aware of it, but he made Iran aware of it. They're like, oh, snap, look, we have this anti-America superpower.
Right. That's literally what they did.
Yeah. So just to piggyback onto what you were saying about why he would look to extend this war, because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. It's not like he couldn't surround himself with people who do know, right? Instead, he put a guy like Pete Hegseth, who's focused on testosterone and doing shitty sit-ups or pull-ups or whatever,
right?
Instead of putting people who can talk back to him, because I feel like he's not getting the real situation on the ground. I think he complained about somebody leaking his briefings or something like that. Or this motherfucker, I can say that now because we're past 5-minute mark. This motherfucker could not be paid to listen to his briefings, at least in his first term. It's a well-known fact that his aides and the people around him in his first term were trying to figure out a way to camouflage his briefings as something entertaining. Like, well, let's put his name like 3 times in every paragraph, right?
Right.
And now I think they had to put it on an iPad, so he's like a child, right? Like when you're trying to feed your child something they don't want to eat, here comes the choo-choo train. That's what they have to do with his briefings.
The president of the United States. It's absurd.
Yeah. So I honestly, I don't see any way out of this dilemma for us unless he changes, right? Here's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to accept a deal that is inferior to what we had with the JCPOA. He will have 100%. To accept something that's less, something I think.
And we already see that in the MOU. We already see that.
In one of your clips, you talked about. In fact, let me play it because I think I have that one in particular when you talked about that the United States was giving up $12 billion right up front to Iran. Mm-hmm. That clip. Let's see. I think it's this one here.
Hadn't every single president for the last 27 years said we can't allow Iran to have a nuclear power, but did nothing?
No, that's not true because Obama did something. Obama created the JCPOA, which led to 97% reduction in their enriched uranium.
He flew $2 billion in cash to him.
Absolute lies, because first off, the $1.8 billion was unfrozen of Iranian assets. It was Iran's own money that they had in foreign banks. So that's completely inaccurate. But what is going to be pallets of cash loaded on the 747s, filled to the brim with cash from Maryland, New York, Connecticut, and Virginia, and all of the banks nearby, is going to be the $300 billion cash infusion that Trump is negotiating for this settlement that he wants to do to open the Strait of Hormuz. That's going to be the pallets of cash. Whoop-de-doo.
That's it. Yeah. You know what? The last time
this just shows cognitive dissonance. You just wouldn't criticize. I hate to break it to you. You just wouldn't criticize Obama for what you thought was $1.8 billion, and now you say whoop-de-doo for $300 billion of cash injection to the Iranians.
Excuse me. Did you have a problem with when Obama? Hey, look,
Trump wants $300 billion in straight cash to the Iranians, 150 times the amount that you literally were upset about. And you say whoop-de-doo?
Oh, you know what? And what do we get out of it?
That's called, you know what this is called? This is called Trump guzzling. That's what that is.
My brother, you have so much patience with these people. I couldn't do it. Like right now, my blood pressure is at a good 125/81. It's like it's great. I couldn't do that. He was so proud of himself too. He flew $2 billion in cash. Like, oh really?
It's like, really, buddy? You want to talk about 2 billion compared to 300 billion? Yeah, let's play a simple game of math. Which number is bigger, 300 billion or 2 billion? I think that's pretty self-explanatory. It's just like these people are they're just so dumb. And it just like kills me how, the lack of common sense that's just apparent is it's absurd.
So, all right. So it's clear that not all of them are, room temperature IQ.
That's right.
Like Tucker Carlson is calling Trump weak on this. Your CNN friend Caroline Sunshine, she seems to actually does seem to have a head on her shoulders. So let me ask you this: is what we're seeing now with the Iran war, is this the start of a real MAGA fracture? Or does the base fall back in line in November?
I think that there's a lot of things. Every night on TikTok, I do my live, in which I get a lot of people that come from all different sides of, I guess, the Republican spectrum, as you will. I do think that a lot of them are disappointed because they were really excited about the prospect of no new wars, all to see that Trump went and got us in another war, right? So they see that that's complete BS. But I think ultimately the fact that inflation is going up left and right, our gas prices are through the roof, the fact that our healthcare premiums are going crazy, the fact that there was more farm bankruptcies in the first quarter of last year than all of the previous year combined. I think all of that is what adds to people looking and wanting to vote for something different. So I think that the job of Democrats this midterm is going to be, yes, calling out all these things, but talking about an affirmative vision for the country's future. And I always make sure to say that, yes, we want to talk about ending the Iran war, but that also means how are we going to make our country more affordable? That, to me, looks like universal health care, universal child care, doing things like that to put more money in people's pocket has to be paired with the actual reality that what Trump is doing is absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, so you, my brother, you sound a lot like some of the other young guns, I guess. Right now, that's what I'm calling you guys, the young guns. You guys are like a posse of like, and don't be insulted by this, because trust me, when you get to be my age, you'll be like reminiscing about the days when they used to call me young.
Yeah.
But no, it's a bunch of you guys that are in your 20s and early 30s who really have your finger on what it is that the American people want and how, more importantly, how they want to hear it. And I say that because your typical political pundit or politician sounds like they're, reading out of a book, and you guys make it a whole lot more accessible. Before I get onto that, I want to know, if you had to bet, does the Iran war actually cost Republicans seats in the House, or does this whole thing blow over by November, whether we get out of the war or not?
I do think that the Republicans are going to lose the House, and I do think that the Iran war is going to be a big focus of that. But like I said, I think it's a litany of issues that Trump has done, which is going to make them lose seats. But I do think that this is going to be a big reason why they do lose the House in November.
I want to do a little exercise. I'm going to be MAGA.
Okay.
You be you. Okay. I'm going to throw up some typical Iran talking points.
Let's do it.
And you do what you do with that. And my point, the purpose of this is I want to give our audience some tools, some of the tools that you use, right, to break some of these people down on your lives.
100%.
Obama gave them $1.7 million in cash.
Well, that's absolute a calamity when you look at the fact that Trump is literally agreeing to $300 billion in a reconstruction fund, $100 billion when it comes to unfreezing of Iranian assets. So that's about $400 billion. So I just want to ask you, which one is bigger, $400 billion or $100 billion? In regards to the $1.7 billion that Obama gave, that was unfreezing Iranian assets that they already had. So ultimately, if you want to look at reality, if you're mad about the $1.7 billion that ended a war, that reduced their nuclear capabilities without a single war having to be fought, without a single service member losing their life as a result of that, if you think that that's bad, then what do you have to say about the $400 billion going to Iran and the 18 American service members that have lost their lives? I think that's pretty obvious which one was a better deal.
Obama made a horrible deal. It was horrible. He flew it and he flew the cash over there on a plane. It was on a plane. It was pallets.
Well, what I would say, have you ever seen the movie WALL-E, the Disney movie? You ever seen that? You ever seen that? You know, the big Starship plane that they have? That's what's going to Iran right now. Pallets, warehouses full of cash. You know, it's not even just to say that a 747 is going over there. You're talking about galactic starships full of Amazon warehouses full of cash, pallets and pallets of cash. They said Trump said that it was cash out of Maryland and Virginia. This is cash out of Oklahoma, West Virginia, Maine, Ohio, Michigan, everywhere else. All the cash that you can find in every credit union and bank in the country that we stand in is going to Iran right now because this president went and agreed to quite literally the stupidest deal in the history of our country.
You know, you're just jealous because Trump had the courage to do what no other president had the courage to do.
Well, I didn't know it was courageous to give $400 billion to Iran. If that's courageous, then I would say you got a new examination.
He's stopping them from having a nuclear weapon.
They haven't even destroyed anything.
But
hey, can I ask you a question? Have you tried crying about it?
Trump was just cleaning up what Joe Biden left behind.
Yeah, that's just again, if your solution is $400 billion to Iran, then I don't think you can do math. I would say that.
Okay, so what I'm going to point out is that you stayed laser focused on that $400 billion number because that is a great big 2x4 to wallop the nonsensical talking points on that that end. Something else I've seen you do is you make them back up and defend the little points that they say, the little things, the verbiage that they say, and that's something that John Ossoff was excellent doing yesterday. You know, he just brought Hegseth down from his ranting and raving, and he just says, answer yes or no, yes or no, and he stayed very calm. So being calm is important, and that's that's what you do. I never see you get, even when even when the people that you're talking to start talking over your voice or whatever, you never let yourself get irritated or outside of yourself. You're just very calm and you just stay focused on that one point.
Mm-hmm. Can't let them pivot.
That's very good. I suggest, folks, you tune into Isaiah's TikTok. He's got one on there that's called Converting a MAGA. And that I tried to upload that on my StreamYard, but it's too long. It's about maybe, I think 10-minute clip. It's actually very worth it to check that out. I want to ask you, why have our young brothers and sisters like yourself and Adam Mockler, Aaron Parnas, why have you guys found so much success in this space?
Well, I think honestly, it's because we just talk very directly, I think, with common sense. And I think you said earlier, a lot of people have conversations with talking points and they come off very robotic. And I think people love the fact that, yes, we talk with facts, but we also talk in a way that's pretty clear for anyone to understand. I think for too long, many pundits tried to make it seem like they were smarter than the average person in public, but in reality, I'm no different than everybody else. I go and do normal people things. I hoop, I work out, I do things, and I think people like the fact.
I saw you with Governor Moore.
That's right. Yeah, we were hooping.
That was cool.
I bust his ass in basketball. I love Governor Moore, but I bust that ass on the court. I've always said, BDD, I'm a very humble person, except when it comes to hooping. I would love to have a one-on-one competition in the Democratic Party. I think it'd be really, really fun.
Oh, that actually does sound like a great idea. So in your opinion, is this actually the future of the Democratic Party? Or do you guys just have like better microphones than the people who are already in charge?
Look, I think the future is just people that talk with common sense and people that are real. I'm not controlled by any person or interest or whatsoever. And I think that's what people are looking for. I think it's the way forward for sure.
I for one, would love to see you run for office again. I think there's no reason that you couldn't or that you shouldn't. I look forward to that. But does the party actually want to hand you and your fellow young guns the torch, or are you going to take it? Are you going to take that torch whether they like it or not?
Well, I don't know what the future holds for me when it comes to running for office again. We'll see. But what I do know is that I don't think people are waiting for their turn in politics. You see people all across, when they get told no, they decide to run. I had a good friend, Milak Kiros, that just won in Colorado, just won a very big race there. You see Zoran Mamdani that won a very big race in New York. You see people from all sides of the political spectrum that have really taken that mantle. So, look, I think that the next generation of politicians are definitely going to run, and I think it's going to be up to the voters to decide what they want to see. I have a good hunch that they want people that are authentic and honest, and I know for sure that I support that, and a lot of the candidates I support do as well.
Why are Republicans so afraid of Zoran Mamdani?
Because he's effective.
Seriously, they are afraid of him.
Of course they are. It's because he's effective. It's like, look, the man is out here, doing, giving childcare to people. He's balancing budgets. He's doing everything that he's cutting waste in government. That's everything that conservatives said would never happen under the Mamdani administration. I think they just had a record low for homicides and crime in New York City as a result of that. So look, the guy is very effective. I support Zoran Mamdani. I supported him when he was running for mayor because I see him as somebody that delivers. And I think people are looking for politicians that deliver and not just talk. We got a lot of people that flap their gums or whatever. Zoran delivers, and I think it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, let's not forget to mention that he is filling in potholes. What is one of my biggest pet peeves? The
That's
potholes
right.
in New York City are horrendous. They cause some serious damage to your tires or your rims.
That's right.
And I think he filled something like 700,000 potholes. Not he
Probably
personally,
so.
but his team or whatever. I think
Right.
that's fantastic. It's those little things. Um,
And it's a big
yeah.
money saver too, BDD, because when you lose a tire, tires are very expensive. So it's
Yep.
like if you have these roads that are constantly busted and you're fixing them, that also saves people money. It's really important.
hmm Yeah. As Meredith says here, Mamdani is just getting shit done.
That's right.
Indeed. Um, excuse me. In your opinion, what's the best way to respond to people who are fear mongering about the Democratic Party becoming communist? I mean,
Well, I would say,
you laugh, but it
yeah.
is it's no joke. They are literally ringing that bell nonstop.
Because that's all they have. All they have is worried about Merriam-Webster definitions. I mean, I don't know what the hell they're so confused about. Look, at the end of the day, people want to pay less for healthcare. People want to get potholes filled. People want childcare. People want these things. All these other countries in the world seem to be able to figure it out. And you cannot tell me that the way forward in this country is to go give trillions of more tax cuts to people like Elon Musk. And so people can give it whatever definition they want. I just think that people want more common sense. And that's why their attacks on Zohran Mamdani are not working, because you cannot tell someone it's so bad to live in a city with less crime, a city that provides for its people, that provides childcare for people, that actually gives substance. That's the type of Democratic Party I want to be a part of, and I think that's the type of party that the majority of Americans want to be a part of. It's just a party that gets things done for people to actually reduce their costs. I think is absolutely a good thing.
If you had to pick one thing that the Democratic Party successfully delivers on, what would that one thing be?
Well, I would say healthcare historically has been something. Look, the Affordable Care Act was never meant to be the end of the road. It was to be
Right.
a beginning point because we were dealing with severe healthcare inflation. We had people that were being thrown off their healthcare if they had a pre-existing condition. We had all these issues going on. And so that went forward and really went and reduced the cost of healthcare when it comes to this healthcare inflation. Now, and I think even President Obama would say, that we need to go further. That means having universal health care. We did not have the votes for that, 10 years ago, 15 years, or 10 years ago, whenever this was originally talked about. But now we need to be talking about building a real majority so we can get that universal health care. So you're not having to pay so much for your premiums. So you don't have to pay these out-of-pocket costs. So that ambulances don't cost $3,000 if you have a real event that needs tending to. So that nobody has to go worry about, should I call an Uber to take me to the hospital while my chest is pounding and it's hurting? Or should I go call an ambulance? That's the reality that people are facing with right now. And I think that the Democratic Party constantly is talking about how we can get out of that. And to me personally, I think that looks like healthcare for everybody in this country.
Yeah. I mean, I never understood why the wealthiest country on earth could not make healthcare affordable or free to everybody. I mean, okay, so maybe not free because you have some procedures that are super duper expensive, but I don't know. We've got 350 million people here, right? If you added a few, if we paid a little bit more in tax, I think that's a trade-off. That's a decent trade-off because healthcare is expensive, and those of us who are getting older, it's no joke. It's no joke that I've been to the doctor more now in my 50s than I was in my 30s. When you're in your 30s, you're like Superman. You're impervious to harm and to sick, so you don't even think about that shit. What? Healthcare? What? Insurance? Who needs insurance? nonsense. But in your 40s and your 50s, that isn't even that old. In your 40s and 50s, you start getting aches and pains, and shit is expensive. And God forbid, what everybody talks about is that catastrophic care. You get that one, you're in a car accident, or or you get a serious illness. Then what are you going to do? Now you have to, if you're fortunate enough to own a house, which that's another thing that folks in your generation, I'm so sorry, I didn't have anything to do with it, but folks in your generation are having an issue with. Can't even afford a house. Are you thinking about a house?
I know I'm not currently, but I know a lot of my friends are, and I know they certainly cannot afford it. It's crazy.
So for the longest, I didn't buy a house. I was renting, through most of my adult years. I couldn't afford it. And because of some bad decisions I made in my own personal life, I set myself back. And so it wasn't until my late 40s I was finally able to afford my first house.
Wow.
And that's unfortunate that it's even more difficult now than it was just when I think I was 48 when I got my first house. I'm 50, so 10 years ago. In the 10 years that has passed, it's become increasingly difficult for college graduates and people in their 30s to afford a house. So this sets the stage for Americans to be open to change, I think. Do you think that the Democratic socialists who are running now are onto something? Do you think that's the beginning of a trend, or is it going to get, or is it just like a few isolated candidates?
The thing is that I think that the Democratic Party is a full spectrum. I think that there's some folks in DSA that I agree with, and there's some folks that I don't. And so when it comes to this, what I do think is that we have to build a lot more housing. I know in Austin, it's a very progressive city, a progressive Democratic city. They went on a tear to incentivize more homes being built, to go and cut down unnecessary regulations. And for the first time ever, they saw a reduction in home prices. They see a reduction in apartment rent. I mean, who has seen a reduction in rent? I don't know anybody nowadays that has really seen that. And that was a big thing going on in that city. So look, I think that there's a spectrum of ideas. I think that that's personally what I agree with, because I know that it works and I've seen it work. And you're even seeing people like Zohran Mamdani adopt a lot of those things. He just went out and announced that he was going to cut a lot of regulations to go build in New York City, which is going to put a lot of pressure to reduce prices. So look, I think that Democrats should work with anybody, because everybody has good ideas. There's folks in DSA with good ideas. There's moderates with good ideas. There's a whole spectrum of people. And so I think it really is just, these elections are going to have to be decided by electing people who give a damn about this country. And that's spectrum wide, whether you're DSA, centrist, or whatever. If you give a damn and actually have real solutions, you're not beholden by special interests. I think that you're somebody that will actually work to go and reduce prices.
I love how common sense you sound, because you sound a lot how you sound very pragmatic the way I do, because I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think, we are the big tent party, right? Everybody is in there with us. I'm interested in solutions. I'm not interested in labels so much. If the things that you're saying make sense, let's try it. I think I would love to see universal health care. I think that the complaints I've heard about it is that there's long waiting times, right? Like if you want a procedure, you can't just get it. You have to wait 6 months for it or something. But some people don't get that procedure at all.
Yeah, I would say that, we certainly have long wait times right here in America. I mean, think about how long it takes to get a specialist if you're seeing them for the first time. I mean, it takes months sometimes to get an appointment. I remember one time, a specialist quoted me on a 7-month wait time just to go get an appointment. And in my head, I'm like, well, I could be dead by then. I mean, you just never know what can happen. I think the big thing to focus on is the fact that countries like Canada, they have a longer life expectancy than here in America. It isn't the point of healthcare to live longer, to be able to have longer, more fulfilled lives. So look, I think that ultimately Canada has a system that works. Obviously, America and Canada are different, and there's some things that have to be ironed out. But the principal takeaway that I get from it is that their universal healthcare system gives a longer life for Canadians, and they don't walk away with hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical debt. That's a big takeaway to me, and I think that they have a pretty good system over there.
Well, I, for one, hope that I live long enough to see universal health care adopted at some point here in America.
I agree.
With people like you leading the charge.
Absolutely.
Isaiah, I want to thank you again for joining me on the Defiant Weekly. As I said, big fan of your content. And folks, if you have not been checking out Isaiah's stuff, where can they find you?
At Isaiah R. Martin on all platforms, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, at Isaiah R. Martin, ISAIAHRMARTIN. And then TikTok Live, Monday through Friday, most nights, with the exception of this week, because I am going on vacation tomorrow. But yes, I am. But 11:30 Eastern PM on TikTok Live.
Where are you going? Can you say?
So my little cousin actually wants to go to Disney World, and I'm being a proud cousin and taking my little cousin to Disney World. We're gonna have a great time.
Nice. Oh wow, that's special. That's special. I haven't been to Disney World since my boys were little. 2003. 23 years. Yeah, it's great. It's a magical place. So you can't walk around that place without smiling because everybody's happy there. By the way, have you seen that movie, The Odyssey?
I have not, but it keeps on coming up in my mentions. I got to watch it because I just keeps on getting asked about it. I saw it
last week. I loved it. It. I didn't see what all the fuss was about. You know, a lot of the bros were mad that Lupita Nyong'o was cast as Helen of Troy. That what's his name? Page Elliot Page was cast as had a role in there. They didn't like Matt Damon's American accent.
What a bunch of snowflakes.
Yeah. It was fun. I thought it was long. It's like almost 3 hours, but fantastic movie. Christopher Nolan is brilliant. So yeah, if you it didn't feel like 3 hours, and Tom Holland was in it, and his movie Brand New Day, Spider-Man, is coming out next week.
That's right. It's going to be interesting. A lot of good stuff coming out. I'll have to write all this stuff down and use that for my next movie night.
Yes. So anyway, hang tight on the side there while I sign off with my tweets here.
Perfect.
And folks, thank you for joining me for another fun episode of the Defiant Weekly. I'm your host, Majid Padelan, a.k.a. BDD, a.k.a. Brooklyn Dad Defiant. And as always, I look forward to seeing you guys here. Same time, same place. I love you all. Peace. Incredible person, incredible human being. Yes, famous. Yes.